Hey guys, so this video is going to be to show you a little introduction into Dungeoneering in the EOC, which has obviously just been released. Now, obviously now we've got abilities. Now I've set up a bar here for my melee setup. Now on my binds I have my hex and a range item so that I can switch to some gear, and then obviously I've got my melee items which I'll predominantly use in dungeons. Now I've got my abilities here, so basically you just want to pick all your favourite abilities or the ones that you think will do the most damage in here. Now obviously most people have a 2H and that is the weapon, so you want to make sure you have all the two-handed abilities like this one, Quake, and you can see the little requirement saying 2H at the bottom. Generally these ones will do good damage. One that you definitely want to have is Hurricane. Now if you're next to a lot of targets in a Dungeoneering Guardian door, and say you've got a zombie meleeing you and you've got a skeleton meleeing you, and the spider, using Hurricane will hit all three in one attack, which is awesome. You've also got obviously a lot of abilities. You want some basic ones that you can use very quickly with a short cooldown so that you can build up your adrenaline really easy if that's what you want to do. Now on my bar I also have to create Gatestone, teleport and group Gatestone. This is so you can teleport quickly to your Gatestone, and this will also really speed up your dungeon. However, one tip I still like to do really is have the mage book open on spells, so this section here and the little home teleport. And then if I'm in a dungeon and want to teleport, I'll click F4 and then I can click Home Tele, Gatestone Teleport, Group Gatestone or Create Gatestone. I'm still in the habit of this. This is how I obviously used to DG, and I find this is still just as quick really as hitting it on your keyboard. It's not really much slower, but obviously it's on your keyboard for when you want to use that. I also have a range bar then, which is very similar setup. With all the range abilities here instead of the melee ones, and then the same teleports at the end. I don't have a mage setup as I don't currently use a magic setup in Dungeoneering, as you can't have two sets of ammo binds, and I have arrows bound. The problem is, the abilities aren't that helpful. Now, they are slightly faster, but the Guardian doors in Dungeoneering now are ridiculously easy, and I'll show you a clip of me doing the dungeon in a second. But first of all, I just want to go for the bind setup. Now, I know this wasn't released in the EOC itself. However, it was released a few days before, but it was made for the EOC, and this is why they did it. So here you can see you've got bound items. Now, you can have up to 10 bound items at any level, and then each setup can have a specific amount of binds depending on your Dungeoneering level. Obviously, I'm 120, so I can have all 5, and you have 3 loadouts. So you can bind up to 10 items. I've only got 6 at the minute. As you can see, I've got these items. Now, if I wanted to have a loadout, which you can switch to at any point in the dungeon, you just right-click the smuggler, click bind setup, and you click the little arrow here, and it'll switch all your bound items to this one and wield them as it would normally in the old system. So what you want to do is just drag them onto this loadout, the loadout you want them to use on. So say I want full primal, or primal body and legs, blood necklace, P2H. Say I just wanted them 4, then I would put them there and I'd click that one to use. Now, generally you're going to have 3 that you want to use all the time, so you'd have them set up ready, and if you go to this guy and just click the arrow, you'll change that. This little tick box specifies which one you'll start with. As you can see in the top left hand corner it says start with, so obviously I've got this one. This is the one I'll predominantly use. Now, as you can see, I normally use a range switch. However, I found this to be ineffective in floors. But in the previous system, it would definitely be beneficial to switch to kill a mage with your Hex Hunter bow. But now, by the time you switch, you could kill them with melee. And I'm going to move straight into a clip of me doing a dungeon now, and that commentary will not be live. So the dungeon will probably be sped up a little bit, and I'll commentate it over it, just explaining a little bit more. Right guys, so I've edited the dungeon. Basically I've just cut out all the combat sections so you can see the combat, which is obviously the main point of it. So obviously you start a dungeon as normal and you make some runes. Now, the make interface makes it a little bit different. It's a little bit glitchy anyway. So obviously you want to make low runes and cosmic runes as normal. But obviously I was clicking over runes and it just wasn't happening. Obviously no option makes a difference anyway because you get the full list of them all, which is weird. So I had to actually click MB runes for it to work. The first time it did work, so I'm not really sure what was going on there. So obviously the dungeon I find it really hard to even get threshold level in a dungeon solo anyway. I know in a large it's obviously much bigger. So here's a nice GD here. There's 2 ranged enemies. I've just got range ground. I don't even have turmoil active. And you see I'm just using basic abilities and you just 2-hit them, 3-hit them. It's ridiculous. I mean, these monsters would take a while to kill before, and it's ridiculously quick now. It's like a GD. It's faster than a puzzle room, depending on the puzzle room, obviously. it's a bit ridiculous the fact that I just ran through that and just wiped them out before I even hit threshold level. So here's another GD. Here's a level 184 Shade. I'm not sure if this is the highest anymore, but you know Shades were beast before, and I mean I'm in a primal plate, not taking any damage, and I just kill it so fast. I've barely got any adrenaline. It's ridiculous, and I'm just meleeing as well. So here's actually a Ramoke room after this GD of this zombie. So this is a zombie. Now the zombies before had a huge amount of hit points, and they only took quite a while to take down. And if you notice for this dungeon, I don't die at all. And I mean, I'm not picking up food, I'm not even trying to survive. But here's a Ramo. Now these obviously normally wreck. So I just mark the skin weaver just to make sure I know where I'm going. And I get ready to take it on. I just pray mage turmoil, obviously I don't know if I really need to pray mage. And I just walk in there. Obviously this is the mage monster. This is the monster I'd normally hex. And look at that, 2-hit. Instantly dead. And then go to the Stormbringer. And you can see the auto attacks are defined by the little ones that don't have a red background, and you can see how fast I'm taking this down. It's ridiculous. Look at that, auto hit that one, 2.7k auto hit damage because it had no red background. Look at that, wiping them out just like nothing. I'm not even trying. So you see, I finally hit threshold level in this room because obviously it's a rather sizable GD, but you also get them obviously in larges. You're gonna hit threshold level a lot more. However, in smaller dungeons, you pretty much never hit the threshold level. And getting threshold abilities and ultimate abilities is the only advantage over momentum. Because if you use momentum, it'll use basic abilities automatically. But obviously, if you are hitting threshold level, you want to be using your AoE attacks, which basically do damage to more than one creature at once, which is definitely what you want to do in larges, where you're going to have a lot more creatures in one room. That's definitely something you want to do. However, if you can get momentum, I think it's worth just using momentum. Unless you really enjoy using abilities, I do recommend just using momentum, because I mean, look, you can see how fast I'm killing the monsters. There's no point. I mean, I'm just using basic abilities anyway, and that's what momentum's going to do. And I just think it's kind of sad. I still find it a little bit difficult to get used to the gatestones being on the ability bar, but it is quicker for them to be there because you only have to press one button and it's done. I wish there was one to drop it instantly though. I think you probably can. If you put the actual item of a gatestone on there, you should be able to drop it with it as well, if you'd like to do that. However, I just like to drop it from my invent. So you can see in this room, I actually used a whirlwind, and you saw that hit both monsters. Obviously, it's quite difficult when you've got rangers and mages, because they don't stand in melee distance, and they're not going to plan on coming to melee distance. And you see, I managed to hit threshold level in that room, but obviously I did 2 GDs back to back. It's a bit tough. I never hit ultimate level once. But here's a clip of me killing a primal warrior. These used to take about half an hour if you meleeed them. Obviously they were rather quick if you mated them, but that was a 2-hit. And one of them was an auto hit. It wasn't an ability. It's just ridiculously easy now. Dungeons are just so easy. And here's a boss. So I just decided Soul Split and Turmoil. This is the only time I'd recommend even bothering to switch to range and magic, is a boss. Now, if you think a boss is going to be easier to mage or range, then that's the time I would go to the dungeon guy and switch your binds to your range setup. But other than that, it's not worth not using melee. Melee is just easier. You don't use ammo. You're going to run out of arrows or runes probably if you plan on not using melee, because the dungeons are quite sizable. I'm not sure now. Anyway, you can see that was pretty damn easy. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and I hope you found it helpful.